Hi everyone, it's Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead, Season 4, Episode 9, complete recap about 24 hours later. So everybody's had a chance, I think, for the episode to sink in a little bit, to hear a little bit of the commentary from Talking Dead. A lot of stuff they talked about we covered last night. We got to hear from the producers of the show. And also, they shed a little light on Morgan's journey. So we talked about some potential ways that Morgan's journey could slow down. I saw a couple articles today. We'll talk about that tonight. So not going to be a super long stream tonight, but it should be packed with some content and some good ideas and what we think going forward. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I do also want to say that I was not a big fan of the premiere opportunity to buy the next episode for $5. That it just left kind of a bad vibe that you're going to get next week's knowledge, and it kind of undoes a little bit of what we really try to do every week, and is get together and talk about the show. So with that being said, we are going to recap tonight's episode, and because some people had already seen episode number 10, we're probably not going to discuss that episode until next Sunday night. We're going to do random things tomorrow night. We're going to get back to Walking Dead chat Wednesday and Thursday, and then we are going to talk about the episode Sunday night because it's kind of a spoiler. Half of our audience has already seen it, so then we'll just sort of recap it. And yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea of doing that because now you've got half the audience is not even going to watch next week, so your ratings are going to be very interesting. So I don't know. I was not a big fan of that move at all. Just jumping in here, see who all we got in the house. Looks like we've got good. Jump around to a couple comments. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate that. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you, man. You know, and I was really prepared to get together Thursday night and just talk about what we think is going to go down. And I even had people, they're like, Kills, you going to watch it? And they were trying to send me their password. They're like, go watch it, check it out. But still, there's half the audience that's not going to do it. So, different conversation. Before we jump into that, I do have to ask everybody, what were your feelings last night about the Chris Hardwick tearful hello and glad to be back and glad to be part of the family? Keep it decent, keep it respectable, but remember, your comments are going to be part of this video. I'll give you kind of my thoughts in a little bit, but I just kind of want to genuinely upset, seem genuine, very emotional. Thankful to be part of the community. Yeah, you know, we stayed out of the fray a little bit, but the one thing we did say was it was good to have him back regardless, and I think you saw that it was good for him to be back and missed his family. All right, good stuff. Okay, let's jump into last night's recap. So we got to see the elements in play. So the start of the flood, we saw a couple of the hidden clues. We saw the little storm gauge. It was getting more and more stormy. Morgan going out hunting a supply. So several stories really going down. And the one common theme was that something was lacking. And what I tried to do is piece together the story and then with some of the interviews. So this is what I guess where the plot changed is Morgan said, I want to go back. There's somebody I got to see. I got to look him in the eyes and tell him he was right. But then it's kind of confirmed that will not be a straightforward journey. Remember a couple streams ago when we talked about how it would really only take a couple days to get from Texas to Virginia? And all the things that could divert Morgan. Could be the elements, could be another enemy. Well, it appears that the thing that is going to prevent Morgan from getting there, he's going to go clear again. We did see we thought he was over it. Well, I guess we didn't really think he was 100% over it, because in the Comic-Con trailer, he's looking in the mirror and then he has like the writing on his head. So whether that's legit that he's done that, I don't know if it's on his head or on the mirror, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I lose people, then I lose myself. So that looks to be what is going to keep him from really going back. And I'd forgotten about that. And I do want to confirm this. Rick, I wasn't sure if it was yesterday or today. I think today might be Rick Fisher's birthday. Rick, is today your birthday? There it is. I knew somebody was going to send it out. Happy birthday, Rick. If you guys could just join me in wishing one of the family, Rick Fisher, a happy birthday. All right, just reading through a couple comments here. Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. So some of this is going to seem like a little bit of kind of rehashing it, because last night we did react to it, but we didn't go in detail of each individual storyline. So another thing that I think that we were right on, we kind of predicted Morgan would go back. We also said that something, because of the time skip, something would keep Morgan from getting back. We didn't really jump into Morgan's own psyche and the clear mode, but the elements, I think, is going to come into play. One of the other things that, was it Ian last night that said that we're going to meet people that are going to, they're going to have heart. We're going to meet people that are going to kind of take their heart away, like all of those things. And then I heard in multiple interviews, humor is going to be a big factor in Fear the Walking Dead. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of weeks ago, one of the things that I said that I would like to see this show do is not put all the onus on one character and to add more of a comic relief element. Are you guys feeling that they are transitioning to a little bit of that comedy? Not 100%. There's still, major things that go down. But the scene up on the screen, to me, was funny. Just the music and the walker in the background, and I don't think it's all going to be Strand. Right? So like a dark comedy. But The Walking Dead has gotten so serious. John Dory has some comedy. We definitely see it with Strand. And I think that when Alicia gets through some of her demons and is dealing with the thing with her mom, we might be able to see that just full scale. Timothy, the walkers, the flying walkers were funny. And it would have been, I thought they could have added a little bit of humor if there could have been some more comments about the flying walkers. Right, Kel? Al had some good lines as well. And for those of you watching live, I really appreciate you guys making the time commitment and being here. Thank you so much. For those that couldn't be here tonight, then definitely check out the playback. So once again, this will be the only Fear stream we do this week until Sunday night. We'll do the countdown on Sunday night, and many of you have already seen it, so it'll be some spoilers mixed in with that as well. Lakeisha, I like that as well. I thought the logs was a great scene. The logs kind of reminded me of the Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl scene. I know in a different way, but with the rocket launcher and Daryl just blowing up all the people on the bike, how it just went from, a little bit of intense motion to funny. To me, and some people are probably like, well, why is that? It was funny because the guy was just, on the motorcycle, kind of rude and abrupt, and next thing you know, they're just gone. So when The Walking Dead has done things like that in the past, especially with Abraham, it really added that light moment. And I don't think we've had that. We've had Jerry. I mean, Jerry provides some of that not enough of it. Ezekiel provides a little bit of it. Negan certainly could if I didn't hate Negan so much. Exactly. That's exactly who they were, Paul. I won't read it, but obviously I'll leave the comment. Well, and Paris says, I think Fear the Walking Dead needs Morgan to anchor the show. And he is the lead. I mean, his name is popping up there first. You get Lenny James, and then you get Alicia, and then you get the rest of the crew. So there's a little bit more of a spotlight on Lenny, but I do think that the characters on Fear are definitely more important. Something came up last night, and it was one of our 999 Army and someone that comments. And I know we go back and forth on some of these. Even last night, Corporal Epic and I, we're talking about Clementine and a few other characters there. So I just want to point this out because I want everybody watching the playback to sort of know how we do things and where we come from. So Lieutenant Ripley from the 999 Army, I don't know if it was taken overly personal, but said there's a lot of hate, a lot of negativity in last night's episode. I didn't see that. I thought that people didn't love it and they disagreed with it. And I didn't see anything last night that I thought was outside the borders of what we do. We talk about the show. We're supporters of the show. We rate the show. We criticize some of the things that happen on the show. But some people jump in and they almost take it to an extreme. So, and Wilson, I think, well said. Many people thought the episode was okay. But there were a couple people, because we didn't really rally around and say, it's awesome, it was the best episode. They saw that as extreme negative. And let me say, somebody that I feel like I have a pretty good pulse of our viewers and the audience, and the moderators do as well. I didn't think that it was overly negative. I thought that we discussed it. It was somewhat average, and it was a good foundation. But there were some comments just on a couple videos really criticizing some people's honest opinion. But I didn't think they were overly negative. And if I do, I'll definitely call it out. I mean, there you go. Julie gave it a 2, but Julie's back tonight. And it's going to happen that way. I mean, we're fans of the show. But anyway, I just wanted to address that because I gave it slightly above an 8 for many reasons. So I'm going to do it again tonight. And it's not to be negative, and it's not to bash the show. So I do want to preface that and talk about it. But after watching the show, after listening to our reaction video last night, and after watching Talking Dead and having them really talk about a lot of the same stuff that we talked about. That's why I love the reaction video. And I got a few bullet points I'll talk about that they said exactly the same thing. So right now, everybody just do me a favor that's watching this and watching the playback. I think the numbers will be slightly higher than what you gave it last night after you had 24 hours to really think about it. But give me a rating from a 1 to a 10 based on all of the criteria that we talked about, as far as a foundation, as far as setting the table, as far as the mood, as far as the characters. So once again, I'm going to ask everybody during this recap to give us another rating. And I'm going to raise mine from an 8 to an 8.5. Slightly higher than last night. And the reason I'm raising it to an 8.5 is because most of the things that we felt and talked about, if you watched The Talking Dead, it was like deja vu. Hearing, a producer of the show talk about the elements and talk about Morgan's journey and talk about how everyone's got these demons they're dealing with. It was like, yeah, that's us. We nailed a lot of that. Okay, now I also have to ask this question, because this was great. How many people watched Talking Dead last night? Just give me a quick Y if you did. Not WHY, but just for a yes. Because I'm going to give you evidence that the powers that be, or at least some of the writers, or at least one or two of the producers, is watching our broadcast. And if you didn't watch it, I want you to go back and watch it. And if you did, I want you to go back and check one small segment which really tipped it off. It's when Chris Hardwick last night, I'm not saying it was Chris Hardwick that actually watched our show when he was off. It could be somebody that reported. But when the hurricane was going on, they actually used my phrase, Walker NATO, when we first saw it, and we talked about the very first day that came out, when Chris said Walker NATO, and it kind of caught wildfire. And Ian said, no, that wasn't from us. So that was picked up on one of our streams. And to my knowledge, that was the first time it was said. It was in one of our streams, and maybe other people went with it after that. But I know on day number 1, we threw it out there. So they are watching. Corporal Epic, it is not a common thing among the fan base. It originated from our stream. It originated on the very first day. It becomes a common thing once it spreads. So wherever. And I'm not saying that common things don't come out of other streams and common things don't come out of other websites. But I will tell you, it was right here. And that's part of the problem is there are people that participate in multiple streams, and they take information and they go to another place, they go to another place. But I will tell you, from day number 1, it was part of our stream. There's a lot of things we can share credit for. But I'm not sharing credit on Walker NATO. Now, how the stuff sort of filters through, that could be debatable. Whether, Chris was sitting back with his pajamas on, with his slippers, listening to us every night. Maybe, maybe not. But the word sort of traveled, and then the producer was totally caught off guard. So it definitely wasn't him. And I'm sure there's other stuff that'll come out. Yeah, we should have. We should have trademarked it. I'm just catching up on a couple comments here. You know what? Amy Jo says, talking about a Clementine reference, could Fear use gaming as a bit of a storyline? Absolutely. I'm going to ask a loaded question. If there were a character from Telltale other than Clementine, I already know the answer to this, but I'll show you. I'll show you how popular this would be. Those of you that play the Telltale games, if you could see a character introduced or a likeness of a character introduced other than Clementine, which character would it be? We got Lee, we got whatever, Steven Chip. Just what, dude, it was said here. It can be a cultural reference, it can be whatever. It was the first thing that came to mind as soon as we saw it. It was mentioned in a stream. So maybe we all had the same thought at the same time. If you don't want to give me credit, whatever. It's all good. I'm not going to sit here and debate it with you all night. All right, so we got some people saying Lee. I would say Kenny. I wonder if Kenny would... Let's think back on it a little bit. Have you guys seen a character that you would compare to Kenny? Those of you that played the game pretty hardcore. So I'll get back to that in 1 second. So Drama King says, Kills, I changed my mind last night. I said Morgan won't make it back to Virginia, but now I think he will with this group and possibly may take place in the Whisper of War. Epic would say I would compare Kenny to Daryl. Actually, you know what, Epic? That's not a bad comparison. Ironically, I never really thought about that. And Daryl's like the most obvious. Yeah, I won't make it a complete gaming stream, but I do, to go back and I'm sorry, whoever asked that question, I don't remember who initially said, was it Anna? There's a lot of comments up there. But yes, I think the comic is obviously the foundation. It's a guideline. There are some original characters that are in there. I think the video game could borrow some of the more popular characters that are there. And other movies, other TV shows. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they could get the idea. No, we're good, Steven. So Steven Chip says the 2 times wouldn't necessarily match up. What's the point of going back to Virginia? That's something we've been struggling with. So the Morgan going clear again, might get him after the second time. That's what's so strange about it. I don't know what publication it was, but I saw an article earlier today, and it was the producer, Ian, once again, and said, I think it's Morgan's intent to get back to Alexandria, but there's some internal things that Morgan has to deal with. So when he stated it like that, that to me says it's going to be a long trip back. He gave the idea in the interview, this wouldn't be something they just pack up and then go in 3 days. So the odds of Morgan and Rick meeting up is really tough. And I don't want to give we did this the other day, and I swear, people left here with like the worst headache. Because I got messages that said it takes, they had degrees in horticulture, and I think they said it takes 5 months for the fruit of an eggplant. But then I don't know how long it takes for the stalk of an eggplant. But anyway, Morgan has been there for a few months, and last night on the show they said it's only been about a month since Madison died. So you've got Morgan at the scavenger area for 6 to 7 months, then a few weeks to get to Texas, depending on his journey, then however long they were in Texas dealing with the vultures, then another month. So either it's less than a year and a half and Morgan's going to get there right when Rick leaves, or it's either got to be within a month, in my opinion, or it's if they do a second time skip, how does this group stay on the road for 5 years? There's no way it'll be the second time skip. It's impossible. If they do a second time skip, Charlie's going to be Alicia's age. There's no way they can do that. Sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments, but I'm just trying to process all of this. And we do have a super chat, so let me jump over here real quick. This is Ecom says, should The Walking Dead end with Morgan since Rick is going? I'm thinking. The Walking Dead should end with Rick and Morgan, in my opinion. And there's a lot of different ways that could happen. And we're all on different sides of it. No, Epic, we're good, man. We disagree on a lot of stuff. You don't have to explain yourself. You're good. And Brandon Davis from comicbook.com is taking a strong stand, and now people are saying that he may have spoiler information. So I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but I know that, let me give you kind of the trifecta. Spoiling Dead's fan page thought something went down with Rick, and they retracted it. But Brandon Davis has been very open and adamant about, well, this might have happened, but that's not the way Walking Dead does it, and we might as well prepare ourselves for Rick's death. And when someone, either on a site or on YouTube or that has a website, says it and has somewhat of a following, it tends to take a life of its own. I'm still not going to change that unless somebody comes out and says 100% this is the script, this is what we have. I'm still on board with both Maggie and Rick's exit being open-ended until I get something a little bit more serious. Now, let me tie the time skip back into that. I'm going to say two big things here. One, I think there's no chance they kill Rick. I think that'd just be a terrible business decision. I went on record saying that over and over. If they do it, it'll surprise me because of a financial situation. I think that they can make it work. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But a 5-year time skip, I don't see as a possibility. The only way I see that working is to do it and then work yourself back where you're always manipulating time. You show a 5-year time skip, but then you go back to the present. And then you show something from 5 years, and then you go back from the present. So they're not working with present and past any longer. They're working with future and present. And I do think that could work, and it could open up Morgan's storyline. I know several of you have said, I'm going to ask, based on the time skip, one more time. And I want you to go on record with your best thought, your best prediction here. Will Morgan get there in time to see Rick before he leaves? Not the time skip. We know that Walking Dead is 18 months ahead. We know that Fear the Walking Dead might be 15, 16 months. So if that happens, that means Morgan still has about a month to get there and to see Rick. And then the second time skip wouldn't come into play. So most of you are saying no. All right. I'm just going to give a rough estimate on the time skip because I think that's the hardest thing that we have to deal with at this point. So let me just say where I see it. And you guys can definitely disagree. I'm not trying to make you believe this theory. The Walking Dead is at 18 months, and Fear the Walking Dead is 3 to 4 months behind that of where they're at right now. I think that would be a safe assessment. If we want to round and say, hey, they're at 15 months because of how everything went down and where they stand. And the reason I want to give you those two times is because that means that Morgan, in theory, still has 3 months to get back to see Rick before Rick leaves or dies. Now, we can disagree over a month or two. I mean, if you guys want to hold me to a month, that's fine. If you want to come back and say, no, kills only 12 months, it's 13 months. Regardless, I still think it's more likely than not that The Walking Dead is a few months ahead of where Fear the Walking Dead is. So, that's fine. Fluff. All right. So, if I can at least get everybody to kind of agree with that. Now, you have to give me a reason. And it's one of two things. Either Morgan won't make the attempt to get back to Alexandria now because of what's going down and because of what Alicia said, or it's going to take him longer than 3 months to get to a place that only takes 2 days to get there. So I think we're getting somewhere with this. That does narrow it down, and hopefully you don't have as much of a headache today as talking about this the other day. So Morgan decides not to go, or 3 months worth of problems. And if it's more than 3 months worth of problems, this is just a little small theory that we threw out there last night, and maybe a couple people caught on to it. I do think Morgan will go back. I think that Morgan is struggling once again with clear mode. I think his internal demons will not let him go one way or the other. And Fluff says unforeseen problems. Steven is saying, if Morgan only went back with 1 or 2 characters, do they split up the story? No, I think he's, right now, Steven, I think they're getting everybody on board. They're dealing with their own internal issues, and Morgan is trying to recruit. But here's the thing. If Morgan never would have left, he potentially could be there for Rick. if Morgan just left now, he could be there for Rick. So if Morgan does make it back, I'm concerned that he's going to blame himself for either leaving and whatever happened to Rick happened, or for getting back late. And what hit home last night was how Morgan was in the scene with Alicia, and he was a part of the conversation when she said, I should have got here faster. And Morgan said, there's nothing you could have done. He's been like this for several days. So that almost seemed like a conversation from the future. That Morgan is going to be in the exact same situation, not being able to get back in time to help Rick. And I don't know if it'll be Alicia that says that. I don't even know if he's going to get back to Alexandria. It's just something we talk about. But as you see that, and you see all of the coincidence that happened in The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, it just seemed like a good story. And what would be a better... I got to set this up the right way. I got to ask you guys the question so I get the answer I want. It's very rhetorical. I said last night as well, if Morgan does not lead the group back to Alexandria, his story is done in my mind. His arc is over. Some agreed, some disagreed. But I also said if he got back to Alexandria, he would continue his story. And a couple people asked me, they said, okay, Kills, what would be a story? Maybe a story would be finding Rick. That, to me, is the piece that I've been looking for. It started really with Morgan and Rick. If Rick were to disappear, if Rick were to get captured, Morgan's continuing storyline for me would be to make it right, especially if he blames himself. Morgan has always been looking for people, so what better story for Morgan than to have that elusive quest to look Rick in the eye at one point or another and say, you were right. Maybe he never finds him. Maybe he finds him in the worst possible state by whisper situation. I'm not going to say it. But imagine even if Morgan found a decapitated Rick and that was the end of his story. That Rick was taken and we didn't know what happened for a few episodes and Morgan is actually the one to stumble upon that. That is not what I want to happen, and that would not be the way I want him to look him in the eyes. But I would much rather see Rick captured and Morgan think that there's still hope and that Rick is the hope that keeps Morgan's story alive. Would love to see that happen. But if he doesn't go back, I think his story is very limited. Right? Epic. It would be. I mean, it would be sad. I don't want it to be like that, but I have to throw out the whisper thing as a possibility. I don't want that to be. Absolutely. As a backup plan only, to satisfy the people that really think Rick is going to die. But don't kill him. Don't kill Rick. Let Rick go away and let Morgan really say, you know what? I'm going to go back out there and I'm going to make this thing right, and I'm going to find him. I'm going to tell him how important people are. And I know this wasn't the complete recap, but let me just say, we got off topic with a couple things, which we do often. But we do have elements of the recap in there, because I do think the Alicia-Morgan interaction is a big part of what's going to happen going forward. And I think you got 3 months. Morgan has 3 months to get back to Alexandria, and every episode I watch, I'm going to be playing how many days, how many weeks, how many months it takes for this to take place. I don't think we're in a danger zone at this point. I mean, John is healing. We know that. The group is dealing with some emotional problems. how long that takes to get through, a couple days, a week, even a month, I still think if the group is packed up and on the road in a month, there's still a small chance that Morgan and Rick could meet. But I think the odds of that, like you guys said, I think there's such a small possibility. But I just want to approach every angle. If we're going to do theories and get them out there, we can't rule out that Morgan won't make it back until he runs out of time. So 3 months, maybe 4 months countdown. And the weather's going to be a part of that. Could have bad weather for a week. We could have destroyed bridges that force them in a different direction. We could have people in danger. We could have a person die. We could have another enemy that takes them captive. They are going to meet up with some pretty cool people. So that could, their quest could become Morgan's quest and group's quest. So it's pretty easy to burn 3 months. And that's why I'm not thinking he's going to get back in time. So Paris has a super chat, and I'm going to ask this question to the entire group because I was thinking about this a little bit today. So do we think Morgan will be back for the Walking Dead Season 9 finale? I have to say no, because I think Morgan will have already been back to Alexandria by the time the time skip happens. So I don't think, I know it's confusing, I don't think we'll see him because I think we're going to see the future, and I think it would be too obvious to show Morgan in the future. I think they want to leave a lot of people that have lived and died kind of vague, but I think we're going to see Alpha, and I think we're going to see Magna, and I think we're going to see that group, and I think we'll see Father G has sort of lived through it, and the next big enemy is there, but I don't think they're going to want us to know what happened with Morgan and Rick just yet. So that's the only reason why. Do I think Morgan is still out there somewhere by that point? I do. So I am going to ask another question, and I want to see where the 999 Army, where the audience stands on this. So most people said no, he won't get back to Alexandria in time. Some people said not at all. Here's a follow-up question. Will Morgan ever get back to Alexandria? And I'm going to take a very, very strong stand on this one. And I have my reasons for this. Karen Law says no because Rick will be gone. Denise Hopkins says yes. David Troya says 75%. Stimpy Girl, 100%. And also, those of you in the art, if I don't get a chance to read everybody's comment, just keep in mind, your comment is a part of this video. It is still streaming, and people watching the playback, a lot of people are going to comment on your comments. So I am going to kind of jump around a little bit. Donna Seward said, hell yes. I'm going to emphatically say yes. And I know Chosen One said no. DDA Ohio said no. Corporal Epic said no. T. Ray said no. I'm gonna say absolutely. Because I think most things that happen, there's purpose. And I don't think it's coincidence that they took Morgan off The Walking Dead and put him in Fear, and that he's talking about making a journey back. I think that is a very important element. If you weren't going to do that, I think there's other characters, there's other ways they could have went about it. I don't think they put Morgan there just to tell a little bit of a Morgan story and help the group out a little bit. I think Morgan is the shepherd that is meant to get back to Alexandria somehow. He's either going to bring someone, he's going to stumble on the Whisperers, or he's going to leave and he's going to figure he's got to get back somehow. And so it's not really related to how the story's going. I think it's more just the overview of why they pulled him off there to begin with. Now, and like Casey says, I think eventually. There's a lot of ways they could play that. There's a lot of ways he could be too early. He could be too late. He could find the enemy. I mean, there's so many things that they could do with that story. I don't think they're going to waste it. And an epic, I do think Fear will end. Or I think it'll feed into the franchise. And everybody's saying the right thing. And what are they going to say? I mean, they're saying, same interview I saw with Ian said that they were talking about a merge, and he says, we're really focused on Fear being its own show. And they are, and they have to be right now. But you did take a star from another show, and you are talking about making a trip back. So he's sort of talking out both sides of his mouth. And they have done a good job of making it its own show, but they integrated someone from the show. So you can't, it's not 100% its own show, as long as you cross people over. And let me add a couple things. Let me add another thing to it. Not only did they cross Morgan over, they also uttered the name of the immortal Abraham and Eugene as well. So they know what they're doing. And, oh, look at this. We got awesome super chat here. Jimmy's Jammin' says, Kills, you are awesome along with the mods. You all are rocking it. So thank you so much, Jimmy. Appreciate that. Also, I would absolutely love special shout out to the mods. They do a great job. Really dedicated to this channel, keeping everybody in check. And also, I take that a step further as well to all the supporters, all the patrons, all the members of the channel, and of course, all of you. The 999 Army is growing. Our Facebook fan page is growing really, really fast. And the opinions, the thoughts, the interactions, love it. Appreciate everything that you guys do. And once again, those of you that have been here for hundreds of streams, we get heated sometimes. It's never personal. I disagree with you. You disagree with me. Sometimes I'm a little too biased. I just happen to have a microphone, so that's natural. Sometimes it's going to happen. I try to be as neutral as possible, but please, if we disagree with something and we cut off a conversation, don't ever take it personally. It's not personal. Sometimes we just got to move on to another topic and kind of keep it rolling. I'm just catching up on a couple comments here. So let me recap just a couple things that I think are important for us to take a look at. Obviously, anything in the media. And on Wednesday night, we are going to, I just want to prep everybody watching tonight and everybody watching the playback. Actually, pause that thought. Number one, we have to do this every night. Everybody here, 999 Army, this is the commercial break. Do me a favor, everybody slap the like button. Just show love for what we do every night. If you like being here, then hit that like button. If you're brand new, subscribe. We want all the opinions, all the thoughts that we can get out there. Bigger the better. As long as we got good people that do research, that are passionate about their theories, we want you here. That's announcement number one. Announcement number two, tomorrow night we will be back doing random things with a caveat. And it may not work for everybody. I hope it is, and I hope you guys are available. Our Random Things stream will be at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. There will be a Walking Dead topic. There will be a bunch of random topics. We're going to finish out our one of our countdowns that we did about a month ago, so it's been a little while. So I would love for you guys to be a part of that. Very loose, very casual, but it will be an earlier time. It will be at 8 p.m. Wednesday night, we are going to be doing Walking Dead news. They're going to be open topics. And that was leading into what I was talking about as far as some things that are happening on social media, some interviews that are out there. One of the interviews with recently with Lauren Cohan talking about her exit will definitely be open-ended. So we can take any of the decapitation theories, and those are going by the wayside. She has been adamant of, I have the opportunity to come back if I want. And her exact words were, well, not exact. Let me paraphrase. Her thought was that I may sit back and just enjoy the legacy of Maggie because it has been life-changing for me, but the opportunity is available for me to come back. So that kind of screams pirate story, taking baby Herschel and leaving, going somewhere. That's a possibility. But we're going to talk about that. So Wednesday night is going to be a fun stream. We're going to do some death predictions as well. That's always good. And then Thursday night, we'll do a Walking Dead topic as well. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. And then Sunday night, we'll be back to Fear. Only because normally we would do Thursday night, we do our predictions for Fear the Walking Dead. But since many of you have already watched the episode next week, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do that. Wow. Okay. That was a long commercial break. Sorry. Got to get the promos in for the future shows so you guys know what's going on. You know what, Drama King? That is a good question and probably something we'll address in a stream. So definitely bring that up on Wednesday because I would like to talk about some of the ratings. Epic, I don't think they're doing it for every episode. If they do, they're going to take one night of us talking about the Fear the Walking Dead out of the equation. Because if they're going to, we're not going to discuss it on Thursday. So I don't think so. I thought it was a one-time deal. But I don't have confirmation. I'm just going off what a couple people told me. A couple people said, you can only watch it this week. It's not going to be an every week thing. But I don't know where they got their information from. And I've gotten a ton of really good theories from many of you, either through Messenger or through Kick. I will be touching on a few of those throughout the week. So, and Walking Dead Nerd, kind of what you messaged me goes in line for something we've talked about previously as well, so I'll add to that. All right. We are at 54 minutes. Tommy, I will at the very end. I'll bring that up as well. T. Ray has a question. It says, Kills, do you agree there's a big picture for Gimple's new role? More Walking Dead content. If he doesn't kill Rick, I think more Walking Dead content for him in the Walking Dead universe, more games, more characters, more action figures. I definitely think he can make the universe bigger, but how many B characters would he have to introduce to replace $100 million Andrew Lincoln? And maybe more. I don't know what, not just Andrew Lincoln, but I don't know what the character of Rick Grimes is worth to the TV show and to the action figures and to the games. But Magna ain't going to do that. Alpha's not going to do that. John Dory's not going to do that on the whole franchise. I do. I think Rick is. Well, you know how I feel about that. I'm not going to go into it on tonight's stream. We'll have an element of that tomorrow night and also Wednesday night. Because I feel like if I get on a couple of those topics tonight, it'll turn into random things. and it'll probably be a lot of what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. I know many of you would love to do a 2-hour stream, but an hour with no commercial breaks is pretty intense. So, Ida Roma says probably feels like since he was able to elevate Rick Grimes, he can do the same with another. It would be very arrogant of them to think so. I mean, I do think you can elevate others. I just don't know that you can replace the franchise. I really don't feel like Rick can be replaced. Killing Rick doesn't make me stop watching, but I still don't think he can be replaced. There's always going to be something lacking when I watch The Walking Dead if Rick Grimes is not there. And you know what? That might be the only way I can really say it. I won't stop watching, but every time I watch, 3/4 of my heart will be in the show. Fair enough? Is that a fair assessment? All right, everybody. On that note, we are going to wind the stream down because I do got to get to some shout-outs tonight. I've missed them the last couple nights. Once again, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Please be here for Random Things. It always has the Walking Dead topic, but it's just a format that I really like. I really enjoy. I like hanging out. We see different sides of people in those streams. It's not just the Walking Dead. I have a lot of fun with it. I know the people that participate and are there every time we do it have a lot of fun with it. So join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and we'll roll that out. If you can, Wednesday night, 9:30, we'll do Walking Dead, and then Thursday night, we'll do Walking Dead at 9:30 as well. So I do want to give a special shout-out to my moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, and Kels. And if you are watching the playback, and I got one more thing I do want to say. You guys see one of the moderators, Tommy the Enforcer, is setting up a fantasy football league. He wants to set up a 999 Army football league. So if you're into sports, we have a 999 sports channel. I would love to participate. I just don't have the time to do fantasy football this year. But Tommy is interested in running it. So if you guys are sports fans and you want to do it, then check out the 999 Sports page, and then Tommy will give you some details of how to do that as well. So once again, if you're watching the playback, this is closing credits. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments. If you're still here, give me a quick 999 in chat so I can do some shout-outs. And as those are rolling up, I want to say thank you to all the Patreons. You can see on the left side, we've got some brand new Patreons up there. Appreciate your support. Patreon is an external website. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can see down in the description below. You get a few extra images, a little bit more feedback, some things that you don't see on YouTube, a little bit more personal side of me. So check that link out if you're interested in that. If you want to sponsor the channel through YouTube, there's a join button. You can become a member. And if neither one of those things, then join us on the 999 Army Walking Dead fan page. A lot of good interaction, a lot of good comments there as well. We're about to hit 600 on that, which is a nice little milestone. I think by the end of the season, we're going to push forward to get over 1,000. So if you know somebody that likes to hang out on social media and is interested in joining our chat, have them join our Facebook page as well. And if you want to rock some gear, there's a link to that as well too. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you all being here. You guys make it a pleasure to come here every single night. So I want to say what's up to Justin Barrett, DDA Ohio, Ida Roma, Coma Drug, Peggy Sullivan. Thank you so much. June Smith, Samantha Coombs, Anna Demo. Who else we got? We got the Catnat, D Slice, Timothy Lamora, Kelly Golon Zenier, T Ray, Cammy, Ron Burgundy, Corporal Epic 999 Army. Great comment. These streams make the Walking Dead experience better and will stick through to the very end. Thank you so much. Appreciate that support. Sergeant Chosen One, 999 Army Forever. E Beach, thank you so much. Rosanna Jude, Buffy Batcave, thank you. Candy Zaid, thank you so much. Lakeisha Faison, thank you so much, Lakeisha. Rob Morris, appreciate you being here. Bumblebee Brown, B Squared Grayland 28, thank you. Gina Crockett, have a good night. Hey, thanks, T-Ray. You guys make this an awesome community. No doubt about it, you guys make it. Lisa Khaleesi, thank you. Mitch True, thank you as well. Howling Wolf. Wilson wants a shout NATO. There it is. All right. A brand new phrase. You know what? Wilson, that is beyond creative. So we're going to do shout NATOs. And that is that's going to be trademarked. Thanks so much, Donnie Blair. Appreciate that. Walking Dead Nerd, thank you. Appreciate your support as well. Thanks, Julie McGuire. Viola McGowan, pleasure as always. Thank you. Drama King, what's up, Drama King? Thank you. I see you, Fluff. Early birthday shout out for your son, Tyson. All right. Happy birthday to Fluff Tyson. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I started shout-outs a little bit early tonight because we were going to do them the other night, and it was an hour and 5 minutes, and I think it took 10 minutes to get through them. So we ended up like an hour and 20-minute stream. A girl and a chihuahua, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Albert Arthur as well. I got you, Rosanna Jude. I'm going to give you a double shout-out. All right, holding on just another minute or so. A few last-minute people coming in under the radar. Thank you so much, Thomas Carroll. And also, always got to give a shout-out to Little Tommy. What's up, Little Tommy? Thanks for... Hopefully he's watching. No, actually he might be in bed. Pete M., thank you. Appreciate you, man. Janet C., thank you. Thanks for being here, Patrick Ivers. All right. Probably a few more people are going to come in. If I missed you in a shout-out, I apologize. I'll catch you in the next stream. But I gave it a couple minutes. Thanks, everybody. Once again, if you haven't hit that like button, hit the like button. And do me one more favor. When this video goes live, leave comments on the video. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know what you think we could do a little bit better. And comment on other people's comments. We create some great dialogue that way. And, it's just a way for people who might not have watched the stream live to feel welcome and feel like they're a part of it. Talk to you all tomorrow night, special time, 8 o'clock. Peace.